screen? If you can, just put one in the chat for me, please. Just make sure you guys can see my screen, okay? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I think we'll get rolling. People have an opportunity to come in. More people will trickle in. There'll obviously be a replay, all that stuff. We're just going to get into it, okay? So, how we're going to talk about today is how Turo operators and private car rental business owners hit a minimum of 10K per month and also access up to 100K, some cases more than that in funding, okay? Um, One thing, a fun fact I came across today, which I thought was really, really interesting and really powerful, is that the US car rental industry generated over $40 billion dollars. Yes, billion with a B in 2025. So when I hear people say there's no opportunity here, there's definitely tons of opportunity within the private car rental space. Mark my words on that, okay? So day one today, business credit, private model. We're gonna go over the foundations, but what I want everybody to do, just to kind of center everybody, I know that I had a crazy day. There was a lot of things technical we were figuring out at the last minute to make this happen for you. But what I want to do is just have you close your eyes for a second. Just bear with me on this, okay? Close your eyes for a second. Imagine what your life would be like 12 months from now, okay? Imagine that your fleet is growing at the speed you want it to. Your phone is ringing. You have more cars and more people reaching out to you than you actually have cars available. You have more freedom, you have more control, and you have more confidence. One thing you're definitely doing is, driving the exact cars you used to dream about. I think for me, that's a big thing. I, you know, I like I'm a car enthusiast, so I like to drive the cars when they're not rented. You have high-end clients reaching out to you, or if you want to rent for like DoorDash, Instacart, all that stuff, you can. You wake up and you see notifications that people are reaching out to you, and you get to take your family out anywhere you want. Don't look at the bill, just pay for it, right? So these are all things you need to be able to visualize. That was one thing I went over on the morning kind of mindset meeting this morning, is being able to actually visualize the business you're getting into and being able to see that you actually can get there and you could actually be successful in that business. Now, ask yourself, what would it take to become that person, right? Because that's who we're building over the next 3 days. So, what I want everybody to do is, grab a pen and paper. Please pause everything else. Put your phone on D&D. Don't scroll on Instagram, all that stuff, and doing all that. Just let's just give me this couple hours of undivided attention, because I guarantee you, I'll give you as much value as I possibly can. And then save your questions to the end, because I will be answering all your questions once we're done with the presentation, okay? So why do I want you to stay till the end? Why is that so off? Let me fix this. Sorry, guys. It's like this slide came out different. Because what we're going to do is at the end of this is I'm going to give you guys access to our private Telegram channel. And then we're going to do a 200 cash giveaway inside of the Telegram channel. But you only get the link if you stay to the end. There's going to be a little exercise that we're going to do, but there's something that, can obviously incentivize you guys to participate as well. So let's go. Now, here's what this week is about, just to give you an idea. I don't know why this isn't sizing right. So day one, hold on, guys. Let me change this real quick. Sorry about that. Okay, let me switch back over here. Screens. Okay, that's going to be much better. Okay, awesome. So day one foundation is going to be the real math of what Turo is costing you every single month, why the private rental model is more profitable opportunity in 2026, and how to build business credit and get a vehicle's 100% in your business name, and why this massive untapped window won't stay open forever. Okay. So on day two, which is tomorrow, of course, we'll get everybody the links and everything. We'll be talking about the private rental system, the insurance we use, portal, the marketing, all that stuff. And we're also going to have special guest, Smitty the Goat, come on and talk to us a little bit more about business funding as well. Okay. Now, day three, after that, we're going to talk about the auction advantage. So how we're getting vehicles from the auction, how we're financing the vehicles to the auction if we need to. I think a lot of people think that they have to pay cash for vehicles to the auction, but that is not the case. So we do have connections where you could finance those vehicles, how to acquire those cars without getting ripped off, putting the entire system together with all the pieces. I'm going to show you how we're able to rank our clients on the first page of Google pretty much within 60 days. So this is going to be a lot of information we're showing you. And then also how you could use AI to scale your car rental business, not CA business, is typo on me, right? And what's happening the next hour is the Turo trap, the private escape, the business credit secret. Okay. So by the end of today, you'll see the game differently. You'll see why the timing is perfect, and you'll also be ready for day two. Okay. But today we'll start with the foundation. The things I'm going to teach you today is not what I think it's or theory. It's actually things I do on an everyday basis. So I've been running a car rental business for about 7 years now, been in marketing for over 20 years now. So I'm one of those people that I try it myself, make sure it works, and then I offer it to other people. I know there's a lot of things people do it the opposite way. They want to figure it out on other people's time. That happened to me when I started off in business, and I don't really like making people feel that way. I don't like presenting a program or a service like that whatsoever. Okay. So day one, business credit private model. Now, a little bit about me before we move on. So for those who haven't heard of me before, you may be asking me this, like, why am I qualified to teach you this? Not because of the cars I have, not because of the money, but one thing I can attest to is that I don't quit. Okay. I just keep going. There's sometimes I do want to quit, but I just keep pushing. So you could challenge my strategies, but you cannot find one person who could prove that I ever gave up on this planet. I can guarantee you that. So my name is James Furman. Um, like many of you, I mean, I had entrepreneur parents. That's kind of where I learned, some of the character traits and skills and things that I learned. I watched them succeed. I watched them fail. But one thing that I feel that I learned from them is just the resiliency. As an entrepreneur, you need to be as resilient as possible. But it wasn't always this easy. When I was 19, I was falsely accused of a crime I didn't commit. I had to withdraw from college at the time and actually do some time. What I decided to do was use the time as wisely as I possibly could. So what I did is I spent every waking moment I possibly could in the library reading, about business, how to write a business plan, how to build a team, how to stay motivated. And that's what kind of kept me motivated and focused when I was in there. When I got out, I started my business plan when I was locked up, and I turned that business plan into $1 million business within 2 years of getting out. Okay, so that's what I like to tell you. Life will test you. Life give everyone lessons, and I still get lessons to this day, but you just got to keep pushing forward. Some are enjoyable, some are painful, but the question isn't why is this happening to me? The question is, what is this trying to teach me? That's what everybody know. And I think what happens with a lot of people is what they'll do is they will just get completely taken out when something negative happens to them. They need to think about what is the lesson here, right? Don't just let it beat you up so much where you just stop and you quit. That is just not an option. So business was going well. I had, I was doing good money up until, over the years, and then COVID hit. At the time, I was doing 50K a month recurring, just coming in without even working. Um, had no income coming in. That's when I listed my first cars on Turo. What I did is kind of what everybody else does. Let me go get a bunch of cars. I leveraged my business credit. I threw them on Turo. I crossed my fingers and I hope for the best. Now, what we like to do is a different approach. We like to build the demand in your area, very strong demand in your area, and then get the vehicles. We like to do it a little bit opposite now, but we're gonna get into the marketing stuff day two. But here's my first fleet that I had. I literally just followed Turo's blueprint. I was like, get a Fiat, got a Fiat, got a minivan. So, obviously that works in the beginning, but I followed that, and this is my first fleet back in like 2021 or something like that. So what I did is I realized that Turo was eating my margins. So I had the marketing experience. I knew how to market. I knew how to run ads. I knew how to get on the first page of Google. So I was like, why don't I just implement the same strategies I've used for all my clients over the years into the car rental space. So I leveraged tools like AI, ranked my business on the first page of Google within a couple months, but I was still on Turo. But once I was on, well, I was still on Turo, then I had to figure out how to go private, which is what I'm going to show you as well. So up until this point now, I've helped over 400 operators go fully private, over 10 million in counting and funding. I have some clients hitting 15 to 35K a month that are off of the platform. Okay. So what I'm going to teach you, like I said, is not theory. Is exactly what I did and what my clients are actually doing right now. But if you knew how big this opportunity really is, you'd wonder why you wasted a single day giving 30% of your money to Turo, right? So what I believe is in every single market, there is a massive demand for cars. The key is being able to be found online when people are searching for you. So if you're not ranking your site the correct way, if you're not using the right keywords, if you're not being super, super aggressive when it comes to ranking your site, you're not going to be found. So if you could be found, they actually obviously could find you. And there's also almost zero supply of professional operators who know how to capture it. So there's more people struggling in this space than are successful, correct? So the window, I believe, is wide open right now because it's so new. Most markets are not tapped. The operators who move first, I believe, are going to dominate the most. So every day, more operators are catching on. Every single day, this gets more crowded. So you are here before 99% of them because once these operators start implementing and combining AI tools, they're going to outrate the competition. So the opportunity is closing as the days go on. So timing equals leverage. So the next 72 hours could ultimately change everything for you. Okay. Put a one in the chat if you guys are following me so far. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Now, before we fix this, let's talk about why I've been stuck. And I'm going to go through the Turo section rather quickly because I do understand. That's why I wanted to ask before we started that there are people on here that are private. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the Turo section and then go over to the business credit. So if you are private already, you obviously already understand this, but I do need to explain this to the people that are still on Turo. Hopefully you understand. So the same advice you give everyone else, buy cash cars, which is not a problem. I don't think cash cars is a huge problem. There's just different strategies based on the type of business you want to run. If you want to rent to DoorDash workers, Instacart workers, obviously cash car is the way to go. I have plenty of clients that do it that way. People are putting everything in their personal name. You have no idea how many people I talk to every single day. They come on, they have 7, 8, 9 cars in their business name. And then what they'll do is they'll stay on Turo and grind. So we want to stop putting vehicles in our business name. Okay. So what do all three have in common? They require money you don't have. They damage your personal credit, which you don't want to do because when you damage your personal credit, you can't, you look to the banks like you're unfundable, like you're over leveraged. So we want to put everything in our business name every single time. Okay. And another thing Turo does is keep you trapped in a platform prison. So one single insight equals $10,000 a month in kept profit. That's what tonight is about. But the problem most people have is you train your body, you train your business, you train your skills, but you neglect the most important things, which is your mind and your heart, which is going to take you further in business than you think. Because when it gets tough, those are the things that need to be intact. And those are the things that push you through. People are like, oh, I'll grind it out. I'll grind it out. That only lasts so long, believe me. Okay. So I also need to address something. Most of you, I believe, have a voice in your head right now. That voice is basically telling you why this would work and why this wouldn't work before you even got onto this. Be like, oh, I'll still listen. But that negative voice needs to go away. Okay. I've heard every version of it. Let me call them out one by one. I can't go private because my credit is bad. I hear this every single day. But here's what you don't know. Business credit is completely separate than your personal credit score. There are banks that don't even pull your personal credit score. And I'm going to show you guys how to get a vehicle 100% in your business name without even touching your personal credit. But obviously, we want to get, hold on, oops. Hold on, sorry guys. Just did. Hold on, sorry about that. I don't have clicks. So, We want to obviously get the cars in your business name, but there was a client that we started working with. When he started working with, he was about 680. And what we did is we helped him get $175,000 in funding, 5 vehicles from the auction in his business credit within 5 weeks. So let me play a little clip of this. Just bear with me for a second. Sorry, guys. So this one second. I just want to play this clip and just let me know once I start playing this to make sure that you guys could hear it okay, all right? Um, all right, there we go. All right, so, all right, okay. Okay, back on here. So let me know if you guys can hear this okay. Put a 1 in the chat if you could hear it. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna play this and then we'll go on from there, okay?
Or how much on the business side and how much on the personal side?
Business side, I think we're at $83,000 in available credit. And personal, it's very close to the same. I think about 78,000.
Cool. So when Dan started, like I said, his credit wasn't perfect. He didn't know what banks to go after. We were able to help him actually secure the funding, get some vehicles in his business name, and keep the business going. So credit's not the main problem because there are ways to either fix the credit, manipulate the credit, or go in your business name. So there's definitely options. The main thing is knowing what to do and knowing what to do. A lot of people just don't even know how to properly read a credit report. So the number 2 lie is I'm too small. I have 1 or 2 vehicles. I need to be bigger before I can make the move. How many people think that their fleet is too small to go private right now? Put a 1 in the chat. If you feel like, I'll just stay on Turo and just wait it out. How many people think their fleet is too small to go private? Okay. So we're gonna get into why you put a 2. I said 1. You can't hear? How many people can you guys can hear me? Okay. If you can't hear me, you got to turn up your volume a little bit. That's probably what's going on right now. So this is the lie that keeps people on for Turo for years, okay? The lie is that you have to have a small fleet. I'm sorry. The lie, I think I missed a slide there, but the lie is basically telling you that you have to stay on there, have to keep it easy and everything. So here's another one of my clients that came to me. They did have a small fleet. I think it was only like 6 or 8 cars at the time. She was about to give up because what happens on Turo, which um, I think is beneficial, or what happens is people are on Turo and they're actually stuck on there and they're price shopping, right? So here's another client we work with. We helped her go from Turo to private and let me hold on.
And I know that you guys obviously saw like an increase in like rentals and everything. How have the phone calls been going?
We're getting phone calls and we're not able to keep up.
We're not able to what?
Keep up.
Keep up. Okay, well, it's a good problem to have.
I probably get about, I'd say between 3 or 5 calls a day, people asking to rent, and we don't be having the car, like we be sold out.
Yeah. And then I know, just tell me a little bit about like how it was when you first started, like from till now, like what's the difference from when you guys first started working with us?
When we first started, it was bad. We were on Turo. And around here, there's a lot of competition. So a lot of guests were lowering their prices on Turo. So we would have to lower our price on Turo and not basically get anything back to Turo after they get their 30%. And I was thinking after actually selling off some of the cars before I got in contact.
Yeah. What would you say to, I guess, anyone that's like on the fence about making a decision to work with me and the team?
It's well worth it.
Awesome. So how many people would want to have a minimum of 5 calls to their private car rental business every single day? Put a 1 in the chat if that's something you think would help you out, help you grow. This is where we need to get you to the point where you're getting more phone calls than you have vehicles available, okay? So you don't need more cars to go private. You just need the right system because the way you look at it is, say you have one car and your profit is $500 in that one vehicle. If you're off Turo, the profit could double. You know, maybe 1.5 times more than that. Okay. So going private is too risky. The line number three, what if I lose my customers? Let me flip this around. Staying on Turo, I believe, is the risk. One policy, one algorithm update, one account suspension, one canceled trip, one thing can happen and things can change. And I believe that people that are on Turo can attest to this. And I actually got kicked off of Turo before. And people in the chat, if you want to, so good question. It's just, no, it's not just for people. We're just laying down the baseline. Believe me, we'll get into all this. This is why this is 3 days. So just please bear with me. Appreciate it. So everything is built, is gone every night. Well, when you go private, you own the customer database. No one can take that from you. Lie number four is I don't know how to get customers without Turo. So that's not a reason to stay on Turo. That's exactly what day two is for, is how to get the marketing, how the systems, and how to build up that clientele where you have a lead list. Right now, I have 4,000 leads in my database. And if it is ever slow, which it isn't, I could just shoot out a mass text message and get those people in. So you need to be able to own that database. So tomorrow we'll go through those systems and show you that. But first, let's make the pain real. Let's talk about what Turo is actually costing you. Every time someone books your car on Turo, they take anywhere from 10 to 35%. So people that don't know about Turo, it's a car sharing platform. You can list your car, and they'll take a piece of it. And yes, insurance is a big piece. I see you saying that, Giovanni, which we do have insurance options. We will go over with you as well. Okay. Um, that's before you pay insurance, that's before you pay maintenance, that's before you pay anything at all. So let's do the math here. Now, a couple of cars that I have right now, let's just say that you have two cars, just for simple math, $1,500 a month per car on Turo, $3,000 a month gross. Turo takes 30% because you're on a good insurance plan. You don't want to pay a high deductible. That's $900 a month going every single month. So over 12 months, that's $10,800 per year, right? So just in Turo fees on two cars, right? Now, let's say you have three cars doing about the same. That's $4,500 a month gross, right? They take $1,350 a month over 12 months. That's $16,200 per year that's gone. Now, I want you to actually already asked you guys how many cars you have right now. But let's ask you something else right now. What if you are on Turo, which insurance plan are you on? Is it on oh, we have people answering this. Okay. You guys keep asking this. I did ask in the beginning because we were people 70, 30. Okay. So what insurance plan are you if you are on Turo, which one are you on currently? 90, 10. Okay. Awesome. 80, 20. Okay. 80, 20. Cool. Okay. 90, 10, 90, 10, not bad. Okay. 90, 10 is not bad. Obviously, you have a $2,500 deductible. That's the only one. But 70, 30. I was on like the 60, 40 plan because I got a couple of accidents and I didn't want to deal with the insurance anymore. So I just was on the highest one. I should have done it differently. You're new. Okay, cool. So now multiply that $5,400. That's roughly what Turo is taking from you every single year per car. Write that number down. That's the money you earned. That's the money you worked for. That's money you put your cars on the line for. Okay. And Turo, I like to say did nothing. Obviously, they did something for you. But they didn't buy the car, they didn't do the maintenance, do any of that stuff for you. But the fees aren't even the worst part. The worst part is what you don't own. You don't own the customer relationship. You don't own the database. You don't control the pricing. Turo does. You don't control the rules. Turo does. When you have your business and you're 100% private, which some of you are, you basically get to change. And I want to say you get to create the messaging. You get to create the rules. You get to determine your deposit. You get to determine all of it. So that's all in your control. So at any moment, they could change the fees, they could change the policies, or suspend your account. You have no recourse. You just have no equity at that point. So that's the platform prison. So the ones that are on Turo, just type stuck if this hits home with you and you can relate to it. Type stuck in the comments, please. Cool. Okay. Let me get a sip of water here, guys. 1 second. So here's what nobody tells you. Going private is not harder. It's actually safer because you obviously own the customer, you control the pricing, you keep 100% of the revenue. Okay. Um, and you're building real equity in a business. So let's look at the numbers side by side again. If you have a 3-car fleet, they're taking about 16,200. You keep 37.8. There's a couple of the cars I have in my fleet right now. Um, they 3-car fleet, if you're obviously 100% private, there's no platform fees, which is pretty simple, right? The difference is an additional $1,600 in your pocket every single year. So write that down. So if you have a 5-car fleet, the numbers just get bigger and bigger and bigger. You guys understand where I'm going with this, right? So we want to be able to put ourselves in a position to keep all of the money. If we're going to work and we're going to put ourselves out there, we need to keep all of the money. 5-car fleet, same thing. It just the numbers get bigger. So the difference is with a 5-car fleet, it's almost an additional 30K in your pocket. Because what I've understood on the private side, I could charge more because people aren't aware of the different pricing. The people that come through on Google from a Google search for me, they're not aware of Turo whatsoever. They don't even know what Turo is. And I know people think that, but we have to cater to those people at all. So if you look at it, that's a down payment on a house. That's 2 more cars, and it's sitting in Turo's pocket right now. So type private in the chat. If you're on Turo, you want that money back. Cool. Okay. So the way I look at this way, when you're on Turo, you're a commodity. When you're private, you're a premium service. Okay. I market mine as like a white glove service. And people love that. I know enterprise picks you up and drops you off, but it's people don't want to work with the larger car name companies anymore. But your car has to be your business has to be branded the right way so people can find you. Okay. Um, Yes, we're gonna go. Everything you guys are asking me is gonna happen. Let's just please be patient. You did sign up for a 3-day event, so there's a lot to cover, right? We have to cover the baseline, okay? Um, so the top 1% of operators aren't fighting for $50 a day bookings. They're securing larger contracts. I don't know about 5,000. I might want to change that. I do have some cars that go out for like 2,500, 3K a month, 3K a week, depending on the vehicle. But that's what we're doing. So, but let me be completely honest with you. You aren't going to build a 6-figure private fleet by tomorrow morning. It's going to take you about 15 days to get funding, depending on your situation, 15 days to get the cars and 90 days to get you to a minimum of 10K per month. That's what we can do for you, even from scratch. Now, if you're already at that mark, we'll say an additional 10K per month. Okay. I know some people, if you have 80 cars, you're doing well more than that, but we're trying to talk to the medium person here, right? So the next 90 days will pass anyway. So you could either give them 30% or you could spend the entire time building your own empire. So if you're more interested in building your own empire than someone else's, put empire in the chat for me, please. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. All right, let's keep going, guys. Okay. So the number one reason I say people are trapped is the let me see. Hold on a second. Let me just check something real quick, guys. Give me one moment. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, let's kind of gauge everybody in here. How comfortable or how on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being an expert on business credit and 1 being a novice, what would you say you are 1 to 10 when it comes to business credit? 7, 3, 3, 9. Okay, okay, okay. 1, 2, 5. Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right. So business credit is completely separate from personal credit, okay? But you need the right foundation first. Now, first thing you definitely need is an LLC. If you're getting a car financed in your business name, most banks want you to have a LLC that's a minimum of 1 year old. That's what I've seen, right? The older the better. The older the LLC is, the less risk it seems to the bank and the more open they're going to be to obviously fund you. Okay. But the thing is, where I see a lot of times is your LLC needs to be set up correctly. Okay. You know how many times I have people that come in for their car rental business and I ask them, what's your LLC name? And they say, Bob's Private Car Rental Service. It's just not going to work. So to the banks, what that looks like is high risk. We don't want to be high risk. So what you want to do in these situations is you want to, oops, let me go back. What you want to do in these situations is use the words like enterprise, solutions, holdings. Those words in LLC are very general. They're very broad. They're not going to cause any red flags. They're not going to cause any attention to the bank, right? So I have one that's like solution strategies. I have one that's stellar growth strategies, things like that. You just don't want to have the car rental in there. And you also want to use a very low risk NAICS code. The NAICS code is what's going to classify your business for the business type that it is. Group works. So the NAICS code that I like to use right now, and you guys can write this down, is 541613. That's internet marketing. It's very it's very general. And I know a lot of people on here have been instructed to use like the general consulting NAICS code. The general NAICS code that people use is like 541611. Yeah, the code I use is 541613. Is that what you're asking to repeat? Put a one in the chat. Okay, cool. So you guys have that. Okay. So low risk NAICS code is important. That sets the foundation. 541613. Setting a very general LLC name is super important. And then what I usually do, how many of you know what a Paydex score is? Put a one in the chat if you know what a Paydex score is. One. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So there are financing institutions that you can go to that you can get vehicles financed in your business name with just the 80 Paydex score and a LLC that's at least 1 year old. Okay. So that's what I want to get you an 80 Paydex score. So the way to get you to an 80 Paydex score is to get different trade lines reporting. So there's different ways that you could do this. I know a lot of people have done like net 30s in the past. There's Credit Strong that will apply a literal primary account onto your business credit. You could buy, reporting for like NAB. You could self-report things, or you could do the traditional net 30 route. But there's Credit Safe, there's Credit Strong. There's ways that you could buy trade lines onto your business that will get you to an 80 Paydex score. Now, there's certain vendors that report to the different bureaus. These are the main bureaus that we focus on: Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, and the SBFE. Now, some vendors won't report to Dun & Bradstreet, some will. Now, business credit cards usually report to Experian. Your vehicles report to Experian. Equifax would be other loans and things, but you want to have a balanced profile. And usually the way it works is whatever is reporting and is actually positive and in good standing on your business credit, the bank will use that as leverage to be able to put more cards in your business name. Okay. So let me go on. So when you have this foundation in place, the door's open for you. Another route that people take in the beginning, as opposed to going, let me back up and show you guys how you can get a vehicle in your business name without even using your personal credit. If you guys want me to show you that, put a one in the chat. I'll show you how you can get a Mercedes in your business name without even touching your personal credit. Okay. All right. Let me find that for you. I think it's this one. Okay. So, all right. All right. So let me start here. So this is strictly on the business side. I'm going to talk more about like how you can leverage your personal credit to get 0% interest business cards in a second. But let's talk more about the just 100% in the business credit name, okay? Without even using your personal credit. So first thing is, like I said, 80 Paydex score. There's plenty of ways to do this. There's multiple ways to do this. I have, a breakdown of how to do this I can share with everybody. So you could use like the Credit Strong. You could use the credits. I forgot the other one. NAV reporting. There's a lot of things you could do, but first thing you want to do is get to an 80 Paydex score. This is considered like tier 1 in your business credit, right? Once these are reporting and you're at an 80 Paydex score through Dun & Bradstreet, and if you don't know what that is, basically Dun & Bradstreet will give you a DUNS number. If you have an LLC right now, basically what you'll do is you're going to call up Dun and Bradstreet. You're gonna say, hey, I want a Dunn's number. Okay. If you want to expedite it, you pay like $300. If you want to wait 30 days, you wait 30 days. So get your paydex to 80 or higher. And then tier two, you're going to add a couple gas cards. I think a Shell account, a BP account. And then you got to wait for those to report. If you want to see what's reporting, you could get Nav. Nav's a little bit slow because nav.com is a data aggregator. So sometimes it doesn't report everything. So if you want to run a true credit report for your business, you could just go to Experian and run a business credit report. Okay. Same way you run it on the personal side, you can run on the business side. So once a tier one, tier two reports, make sure they, excuse me, make sure they report. Usually this process probably takes 30 to 60 days. Business credit does not report as quickly as personal credit. But once they report tier one, tier two, you basically go to Mercedes-Benz Financial, go to the business option and apply for the vehicle. Here's a little trick you could do. You could do this at 2 dealerships at the same time in 2 different states, and it will only, and you can get multiple vehicles. Because one thing about business credit, which is different from personal credit, we all know that personal credit, it penalizes you the more that you run it. It's not the same on the business side. They're not going to penalize you and list all these inquiries and say, hey, I got, this amount of inquiries, and it's going to really put you in a bad situation. Okay. All right. So let me go back. Does this make sense? Put a 1 in the chat. This makes sense to everybody. Okay. Cool. Okay. And we'll dive into this more later, but I just want to give you guys an idea. There are ways to get cars 100% in your business name without touching your personal credit. Now, let's say you want to get these cars leveraging your personal credit, which is usually the fastest way to do it. And it's usually what people do more times than none. Okay. So another way, let me see, go here, slideshow. Okay, cool. All right. So 0% interest business credit cards. I want you guys to look at this the same way you would look at, I want to look at credit card stacking the same way you would look at vehicle stacking. Okay. Now, oops. What I'm going to do is, let me do this a little bit differently for you guys. I'm going to go through the funding sequence and kind of the requirements that are needed. Okay. So if I were to show you guys how to get like $150,000 in business funding, is that something you'd want to hear? Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to explain that to you. Okay. So now here's the first thing. And I want you to look at this the same way you would look at going to multiple banks as going to multiple, I don't want to say dealerships, but financial institutions that will put vehicles in your business name. And that's almost every single dealership out there. They will allow it. And another place you can go where you can get vehicles in your business name is your local credit unions. A lot of people don't know that. So the same way you could credit card stack is the same way that you could vehicle stack. So look at it the same way, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to have a 720 credit score on all 3 bureaus. People say over 700, but sometimes it fluctuates. Just to be safe, let's do 720. You want to have no negative items whatsoever. Credit card utilization under 25%. And you want to have minimal inquiries, I would say 4 or less. Like I mentioned before, ensure your LLC is in a low risk category. It's structured the correct way. Everything matches online. You're good to go. What I would do is I would start with Chase. I would deposit 2K. I would season it for 10 days. And then I would apply with a relationship manager at the bank. Don't ever apply online. That's the last thing you want to do. When you apply online, what happens is an algorithm picks it up. They spit out a number that you're going to hate. It's going to be like $3,000, $2,000, where you can get a $50,000, $75,000 credit card from Chase if you do it the right way. Chase, and what the most important thing of this, it's all stated income. You don't ever want to go to a bank and say, hey, let me get, one of those no doc loans. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Now, there's certain thresholds to the amount of money that you could state per bank where it wouldn't raise any red flags and ask you for additional documentation. So with Chase, they'll usually give you 10% of what you state. But with Chase, you want to not go too much above $500,000 in revenue for your business because what's going to happen there? If you go higher, they may ask for documentation. So I like to stay around $525,000 for stated income, and they'll give you 10% of that, which is a $50,000 credit card. That's at 0%, right? So what a lot of people in the car rental industry will do is they'll take the 50K and they'll liquidate it, and then they'll have 0% interest for a whole year. You don't have to liquidate the whole thing, but maybe you liquidate 15, 20,000 of it. Go buy your cash cars if you don't want to finance the vehicles, and then obviously pay the car down as much as you can before the year kicks in. Okay. Is this making sense? Put a one in the chat if you guys are following me on this. All right, cool. So then what I would do is, there is a site. I forgot the name of the site, but I'm gonna tell you guys real quick if I can find it. I think it's helpmebuildcredit.com. So helpmebuildcredit.com, you'll be able to pull it up. It's going to tell you which bank the bank in your state, what bureau it pulls from. That's important because you need to know. I'm pretty sure Chase pulls from Experian. Yes, everything's being recorded. I'm pretty sure the Chase pulls from Experian. US Bank is TransUnion, depending on where you're located. First Citizens, I'm not 100% sure. Amex is one of the banks where you could apply for 4 cards in a row. And it will only be 2 inquiries because 2 of their cards pull from TransUnion, 2 of their cards pull from Experian, depending on your state. But you're going to want, the hell's all the bubbles? But you're going to want to check with your bank, with your state first to see where they pull from, right? So this is the sequence I would do. So Chase, Amex, I would do Truist, Bank of America. With Bank of America, you could basically go to a relationship manager inside of the bank. Wells Fargo is another good one too. You can go to a relationship manager inside the bank, and they'll let you apply for 3 or 4 credit cards with 1 inquiry. Okay. Now, another reason why it's important to put these things in your business name, because if an account is reporting on your business side, it will not report on your personal credit. You will get an inquiry. That's why it's important to know where they pull from. I don't know what you mean by season, but we'll go back to that. And there will be a playback. So that's why it's important to know where they pull from, because you need to kind of stack it. You don't want to get too many Experian hits on one day. You don't want to get too many TransUnion hits on one day. So it reports on your business side. You do get inquiries. Now, how many people want to know how to remove those inquiries off your personal credit when they do hit? Even though that the card will report in the business name, how many people want to know how to remove it off your personal credit? Because then you can go to another bank that pulls from Chase, another bank that pulls from TransUnion, and stack it up. You guys see where I'm coming from, right? And if you run out of banks, you can get what's called a foreign entity in another state and run the play all over again. Okay. Now, this is legally how to take the bank's money, but I think a lot of people are scared of banks. And the main goal is like they want to give you money. So, what I would do in that situation, how I would remove the inquiry off of my credit is I didn't get enough people to say that they wanted me to show them how to do this. So I need a one in the chat for everyone to show me if you want me to show you how to remove the inquiries. Okay, cool. So let's say I go to Chase, I go to US Bank, First Citizen, all these things. I got 2 inquiries on each bureau. What I'm going to do is I am going to use this simple script. Okay. I'm going to call Experian. You're going to enter your social, all that good stuff. You're going to say, hey, I noticed some unauthorized inquiries on my report, or noticed someone applied for something in my name. And this is you guys don't have to use this if you don't want to, but it works like a charm. Inform them according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. These are legally unverified and unauthorized, and they must be removed. There's absolutely no way that they could verify these because they are reporting your business name. You basically list all of your accounts. They may ask you if you submitted report, just say yes. They'll literally be off your account within 2 to 3 days. I've done it numerous times. Type of one in the chat if there's something you did not know about. Cool. This is why people always preach business credit, because you literally could just go to the next bank, remove the inquiry, go to the next bank, remove the inquiry, go to the next bank, remove the inquiry. It's that simple. Okay. Now let me get back to, so I want you to think of this the same way that you're doing the business funding stack as you would do with vehicles, right? So what I would do if I were you is I would say, okay, I'm in Connecticut. I'm in New Haven. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to like 4 or 5 credit unions in my area. I'm going to say, hey, can I finance a vehicle in my business name with this credit union? They're probably going to say yes. And then you just basically ask them what bureau they pull from. The same exact strategy that I just showed you when it comes to credit card stacking, you could do with vehicle stacking. Okay. So you can go to GM Financial. They may or may not run your credit, remove the inquiry. You can go to Toyota Business Department, do the same thing. You literally could just run the same play I just showed you with vehicles with local credit unions in your area. We do it all the time. Okay. Type one in the chat. This is making sense for everybody. Okay. All right. So let me get back over here. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So, like I said, never apply online. You definitely don't want to do that. Always apply in person, and you want to build a banking relationship with these people. People are like, what is a banking relationship? It's literally just going in, shaking a hand, let them know what you're going to do. Business is growing. I just got a new contract. I need marketing service. I need to hire more employees. What can you do for me? Like I said, you never ever want to go in there, and you never ever want to say that you are with a car rental company, because it's high risk, and they're literally just they're not gonna, they may loan you something, but they're not gonna loan you as much. Okay. Um, so I went over the inquiry. Let me just catch up here, guys. So type, just before we do that, type credit in the chat if you learned something just from that little exercise I just gave you just now. Type of credit in the chat. Awesome. Okay. All right. So what I want to do now is talk about another client we work with. Let me just move back over here. Okay. So we do have another client. I will play a testimonial with him in a little bit. We helped him get about 10 cars from the auction. He converted fully to private. He's doing 20K a month, saving a little bit over 5K a month in fees. Okay. I'll play a little testimonial of him in a second. Joseph was another client we work with. He was breaking even on Turo, went private, revenue up 100 to 150%. Said that if he had started 6 months earlier, he'd have 5 more cars by now. So these are the type of stories that we love to hear. Okay. So these are real results, real people. Type possible if you believe that a business like this is possible for you. Type possible in the chat for me, please. So what I'm going to get into now is a little bit more of tax strategies and why you shouldn't be paying any taxes with your car rental business, especially when you're growing, especially within the first year. Okay. So what I like to do is at least once, twice a year, depending on how much money I make, is I will get a vehicle that's over 6,000 pounds, which qualifies for Section 179. Type of one in the chat if you're familiar with what Section 179 is. And ever since Donald Trump's big bill that he passed recently, you could write off 100% of the value of the vehicle within the first year that you purchase it. Okay. So even if it's a used car, let's say you get a used Tahoe, you paid $50,000 for it, you could write off $50,000 of it. So if you only made $50,000 in income that year, you buy that vehicle, it zeroes out your taxes. You don't pay anything. Now, with vehicles that are not over 6,000 pounds, you only could write off like expenses, maybe the payment, gas, things like that. You can't write off the whole value of the vehicle, but that's why you want to plan your tax strategy the correct way. And you shouldn't be paying any taxes. But what I love about the car rental business is even if you're still on it, yes, yep, correct. So what I love about the car rental business is you can get a car that's over 6,000 pounds. Like I got a Escalade. It was like, I think I paid like $85,000 for it. So $85,000 tax write-off first year. Not only am I getting a tax write-off, I'm also making money on it at the same time. Feels like a hack it life, right? So these are important things to know. But what I notice in the private car rental space is people don't track things the correct way. You know, just because this is a write-off, just because all this is happening, you definitely want to make sure you're tracking everything the correct way, which is like, which we'll show more tomorrow, how the back end tracks all your expenses, all that good stuff. Okay. So before we get into homework tonight,